time serious of it. But, Preston, a quick review how the Thorne family Thanksgiving has gone.
Thorne family Thanksgiving has gone swellingly so far. Easy travel up. No major hassles on the road. Got to our destination. Checked in the hotel. It was all good. Got to my cousin's house. Everybody was there. Food was ready. Ate. Watched. Bill, I watched my first non-Carolina college basketball game yesterday.
Welcome to the party. It's a good time.
The party has started, so I watched a little bit of basketball yesterday. So everything is all good. It was great day yesterday.
Excellent. And the star of the show yesterday at the Thorne family dinner?
Multiple stars. So we're in the process of the elders are, unlike Mac Brown, they are trying to pass the batons because they don't want to do this anymore.
Okay.
They just want to go around and eat. And so we had one of my cousins. He took on the mac and cheese yesterday, and he did a phenomenal job. And then one of my other younger cousins, he made homemade rolls, which was a very big undertaking. So he did that. And so the younger generation is being ushered into the kitchen while the older generation is taking their spots in the rafters. So we have a generational change happening.
Oh, wow. All right. A big change there. I completely understand. Well, that's good. We'll obviously get more into it, the post-meal analytics later on here in the program. I can speak for us. The big deal yesterday was the turkey. That was, and we had a bit. We decided in typical Gunner family fashion that we would add some mystery to it. As I was just reading and prepping on Wednesday night, I learned about 30 minutes per pound is about what you're going for. About 30 minutes per pound is the plan. We then discovered we had already taken the wrapper off of the turkey, and we had no clue how much it weighed. That led to a furious That led to a furious dash through the trash, only to discover that whatever was left of the wrapper did not tell us how much it weighed. So yesterday, Preston, it was kind of a touch and go situation. Maybe 5 hours, maybe 6 hours. And it's not that you can't put the thermometer in and be like, oh, it's 165 pounds. It became a matter of like people expected to eat at some point. I was going to get to 165, the internal temperature. I just wasn't sure if it was going to come at the arranged time of 4:30 when we were going to eat. It might come at 5:30, or we might have still been sitting there this morning waiting on it, but it all worked out. And actually, Lauren prepped a beautiful turkey and had a fantastic cranberry barbecue glaze that was put on it. And I think everybody had a blast. The sides were, once again, absolutely delicious, and the discussion fantastic. And now we turn our attention. Jen, how did the Morse family Thanksgiving work out?
It was actually pretty good. We had dueling mac and cheeses because Megan had somebody, she lives in Georgia, and she had somebody who makes really good Southern mac and cheese, so she wanted to bring that. And in the meantime, we have our son who loves to try to do things on the grill or on the smoker, so he did like a smoked mac and cheese on the grill.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was actually really good. But, other than that, mother-in-law made some interesting things. But overall, it was good. We deep-fried a turkey, and that you just can't ever go wrong with that.
All right, so success all around, and now we turn our full attention to South Carolina and Clemson tomorrow. Preston Thorne will have the chance today to watch some football. Should be a fun football day, kind of your appetizer for the main course tomorrow. But you're with family right now, a little bit more out of state. But was there much Carolina-Clemson discussion yesterday around the Thorne family?
Well, my whole family's been given the propaganda for 20 years, so they only weighing in on South Carolina's side. Even my aunts who know nothing about college football, they will be cheering for Carolina. So there wasn't much back and forth on this one.
What is we'll ask this, and of course we're going to get into a lot, but the general consensus around the Thorne family, is it that Carolina walks away with a victory here?
People are hopeful, actually, which is kind of a theme I'm picking up throughout the rest of the fan base. Very, very hopeful. Everybody's really excited.
We'll get to that because I don't know if I get the sense. So this might have to be our vibe check of the morning.
Interesting.
It's going to be, and again, we'll really get into it. but the general consensus I feel is that people are hopeful but very nervous and slightly scared. That even though South Carolina is an underdog, the general feeling is we should win this game. That this is the first time in over a decade that South Carolina has showed up to this ball game. And again, they're not the favorite, but I feel like South Carolina fans are showing up going like, we should win this game. And quite frankly, we should kind of win it by double digits. And that scares people. That scares people. So I do sense that feeling of, I don't want to say confidence, but it's almost like a dreaded, like, wait, despite what Vegas tells us, and even to that point, I feel like there's people who are looking at Vegas going like, well, why are the Tigers favored? Why are we the underdog at Memorial Stadium tomorrow at 12 noon? And we'll get into that a little bit. We'll analyze it. The South Carolina defensive line against the Clemson offensive line and some of the key matchups. We'll also get into a little bit of what really legitimately could be a November to remember, Preston. And I like what Shane Beamer, I think, said a couple weeks ago. Seems like all coaches. That's cliche almost number one in the coach's cliche handbook. Convince your team that November is a month to remember.
It works. It works. It rhymes. It's catchy. It means something. It's a great phrase. Whoever was in coaching marketing 101, they get a raise for that one.
All right, so we'll get into that a lot this morning. Also, South Carolina basketball with a very nice Wednesday, Thursday. The men's team bounces back, Preston. They got the win, and we'll talk a little bit about it this morning. Not only did they get the win, but I felt like there was a small step in the right direction. It wasn't as big as maybe I had hoped to see, but a 70-60 victory over Virginia Tech. Let's just keep Virginia Tech on the schedule, maybe get them on a home for next year and the year after, because it's clear Lamont Paris has Mike Young's number now at Virginia Tech. But Colin Murray-Boyle's coming through with a solid game Wednesday night. My days, by the way, I'm going to be all over the map today with a midweek day off on what exact days it is. But Colin Murray-Boyles comes through, 16 points, 8 rebounds. You get Morris, Ugasuk, and Zach Davis with 12 points apiece off the bench. A very nice game for the Gamecocks with players off the bench. And Preston, that is the name of the game. Win the ball game, improve a little bit, and get ready for this little 3 out of 4 game stretch in which I think will decide the season.
Yeah, as long as you winning, you can have as much improvement and experiment as you want. It's when you don't win, then we start examining what's going on. So keep winning and keep us off you for a little while. As long as football's going good over here, women's basketball rebounded in a major way.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah, as long as you're doing that, we won't even notice what's happening. So good job.
Yeah, speaking of the women's basketball, as you brought up, I walked outside yesterday to check on the turkey, and I was paying attention, but I wasn't paying attention. I had a TV going, but I had TVs. We had TVs going all through the house for everybody, and I just, even though it was different announcers, it's just one of those things you're kind of in a mindset, and I heard 30-3. That's all I heard, and I thought, man, the Lions are really dragging the Bears right now. This is not good. And I just happened to look over, and I was like, oh wait, that's not the Lions and the Bears. That's the Gamecocks and the Cyclones. And yes, I would say everything that you and I have been saying for close to a year now, that Dawn Staley probably just was one of the happiest people coming off of a loss, that she got to go to practice this week and be upset and have game film to go, look, you're not listening to some things I like, and look what happened. And now you get to spend 2 to 4 hours with me of practice time, and it looked like those young women were like, ooh, we don't want to deal with Coach anymore after a loss.
Yeah, they Iowa State, what a bad draw. What a bad draw. That's a tough look right there for Iowa State. But good luck to them. Best
part of that, I don't know if you two watched it. It was 32-5, and the announcer just was point blank. Iowa State just has to forget about the score and just play the rest of this game like it doesn't. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, that's a tough draw.
It's a scrimmage.
You don't want to be on the side of that.
Yeah. So kudos to them. We'll talk some basketball this morning, but again, a lot of it football oriented. It is a football Friday, and we are here to get it for you. We'll get you ready. We got some high school football we got to get to this morning as well. We got key matchups. We got all kinds of stuff that we got to get to as we get you ready for the Gamecocks and the Tigers tomorrow, 12 noon. Again, reminder, we'll get you going bright and early tomorrow, 7 a.m. Gamecocks game day right here at 107.5 The Game. Of course, it'll be a noon kickoff here on 107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And don't forget, we will have our watch party at O'Hara's Public House, 131 Main Street in Lexington. You can come out, hang out with us, and watch the game from there. Again, 7 a.m. is when we'll get you started. So you get up bright and early with Gamecocks game day, 107.5 The Game, and then the noon kickoff, of course, right here at 107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Also a reminder, if you made it out to either of our live shows this past week, if you made it to either of them and you registered, Jen will do everything she can to make me remember that at 7:30 this morning, at 7:30, we will have our drawing for South Carolina Clemson tickets to men's basketball, to the football game tomorrow, and to the baseball series. That's right. So we will have our drawing coming up at 7:30 this morning to find out who the winner is there. 803-404-6100. We'll get into this rivalry game, a November to remember. We'll talk about it. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
As kind of expected, we don't really have any major slowdowns, no accidents to report. All very good news for your Friday after Thanksgiving. And we're looking at 57 to be our high today, but the overnight low even cooler than today. Only going to be about 28 overnight. 53 tomorrow, 28 for the overnight low. And we're going to stay in the 20s and 30s for our overnight lows, really through about Tuesday or Wednesday. Potential for a hard freeze come Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So some chilliness ahead in the mornings, but 57 today, 53 tomorrow, 57 on Sunday. Right now it is cool. And that's why the heat is not on in here. It's 43 on the early game.
$6.20 as we get you up and get you going here. If you're out there having to go to work or if you're Black Friday shopping, whatever you're doing, be safe out there here on your Friday morning. Final Friday of the month of November, Preston and Jen. Hard to believe that when we all reconvene, it really is for me hard to believe. I shouldn't speak for y'all, but that when we reconvene on Monday morning, we will be into the month of December, doing all of your Christmas shopping if you haven't already, and getting ready for Santa to come down the chimney and wrap up 2025. Whew, what a year, Preston Thorne. What a year.
Yeah, I mean, essentially when it's December, it's Christmas, and then it's New Year's, and then we're on this roller coaster already. So, yeah, the days are slipping by quickly.
One of the things that is now becoming almost a certainty is Shane Beamer's team's playing better in the month of November. You and I, there's times we're really out at the forefront of these things, right? And and this was something that I brought up. I don't remember if it was the Monday or Tuesday after. It was the Monday of Labor Day or Tuesday after. But
that was a rough one.
Yeah, but we analyzed it a little bit. We wondered out loud about how Shane Beamer's teams played in their first 4 games, and we compared and contrasted it to the last 4 games of each season. And there's no doubt now, Preston, in year 4, that there is something to what Shane Beamer does that has allowed over the last 4 years his teams to be really good in the month of November, and as I break it down a little bit more closer, in the final 4 games of each year.
Yeah, there's obviously something that he does, whether that's in preparation, whether that's in the culture that he builds with the team. It could be the way that they practice. There's a lot of factors that go into it. But as I've stated before, man, I played for Lou Holtz, and by the end of November, we didn't have much left in the tank. And I think Shane has done a really good job of keeping his teams healthy physically, but also keeping them mentally prepared for what happens in November.
Let's hear what Shane Beamer had to say. This was on Carolina Calls the other night. This is him talking about his 12-4 record in the month of November during his tenure here at the University of South Carolina.
I think it's, I go back to the way we practice. We work to get better throughout the season. We don't get to the season and stop doing good work and just do nothing but scout team work. I mean, our practices are competitive, and we do a lot of ones versus ones. Josiah Thompson blocking Dylan Stewart and Kyle Kennard, and Lenora Sellers having to throw against Nicky Manwari and DQ Smith and all those guys. So I think it certainly starts with the way we practice, and then I would say the way we train as far as the weight room and taking care of their bodies, nutrition-wise, training room-wise. It's a lot of it, and we always tell our players at the beginning of the season we want to be a team that gets better as the year goes, and we knew after the Kentucky game, I told them, look, we're 2-0, but it would be a shame if we're the same team in Week 12 that we are right now, and you've seen us change, whether it be personnel or whether it be wins and losses as far as how we've developed as the season's gone on.
Real quick, let's go to something on the serious side that he talked about that I'm interested. You mentioned how Lou Holtz beat up on y'all in practice. He said training, which, weight room work, because I think a lot of people don't quite understand. Y'all continue to lift weights, so there's a level of continuing to lift weights and improve yourself. Talk a little bit about that, Preston, from your viewpoint of the training and even the rehab and things of that nature.
Yeah, I always it's the same as like a deceleration principle, where you're probably not going to get stronger during the season, but you want to keep as much as you have throughout the season. And that that weightlifting and that training allows you to take on some more of the bumps and bruises that happen during the season. So you're always consistently lifting weights and you're consistently training just to try and keep whatever you gain throughout the summer. So yeah, that probably is a huge factor.
And that's something I'm assuming in this situation, as you would kind of refer to, we're giving the credit there to Luke Day for how they do that. And I'm guessing Shane Beamer has some say in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Luke Day and staff, they've obviously put together a program and allowed it to be part of the whole deal, where they're practicing and training and lifting weights. It's all comprehensive, and it all works together. And as noted, it's proven to have worked to this point in the Shane Beamer era.
803-404-6100, how you can weigh in if you want to do so. Kind of going back to this, Preston, is there a victory? Is there a thing that, obviously there's two, but two victories in the month of November that stand out? Those came 2 years ago. It's Tennessee and Clemson. But you even think about last year, the victory over Kentucky. In his first year, the victory over Auburn. Those are 50-50 games, not huge upsets, but at the same time, they were games that could have gone either way. And do you see anything that you attribute that to?
Bill, I don't see anything, but Mama Thorne had a revelation yesterday.
All right.
Revelation. She said, much to my dismay, she said that Missouri win was her favorite win, more so than the 2000 Georgia win, more so than the 0-1 Alabama win. She said that Missouri win last week was her favorite win ever.
Really? Did you inform her that did you remind her son had played and had some big wins himself?
She looked me in my face and said that Missouri one was her favorite win ever. So I guess on the Mama Thorne scale, that was
it. How did that make Son Thorne feel?
Well, Bill, I'm talking about it now, so obviously I felt something.
Tell Mama Thorne we all understand. That's another, to your point, that's another one. And honestly, you think about it, I'd have to go back and look. I think correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the Auburn victory was 3 or 4 points. The Kentucky victory was 3 points last year. The Missouri victory being 3 points, 4 points. There is something to, not only are they winning these games, they're winning close games. Clemson was a 1-point victory. You know what? Just to stay with the theme, good job, South Carolina. You made the Jacksonville State game a 4-point victory. They win close games in this situation, too.
Yeah, they win close games, but Bill, on the other hand, they also have showed up, whether that's Tennessee or the Florida game that they showed up against. So they've kind of won in a wide variety of ways throughout the month. And I would say if you want to catch a Shane Beamer team, catch his teams early. You don't want to catch them towards the end of the season. 803-404-6100. We'll obviously continue to talk here about football. We'll get into a little basketball as well, though. Come back, let you hear a little bit from Lamont Paris from Wednesday night. The Gamecocks bounce back, get above 500 with a victory, a 70-60 victory over Virginia Tech, a very good victory. We'll talk a little bit about that as we roll along here on a Football Friday. Gamecocks and Tigers coming up a little more. What is it here? With quick math, about 17 and a half hours away is the countdown, Preston. Excuse me, no, I'm sorry. 20. See, that's too much turkey. Jen, quickly. 29 and a half. 24 plus 5.
Okay, it's going to be a morning.
Right there. That's why you need to tune into the live stream, because Jen, that was not even a joking eyeball roll that she just had there. Off air, if you'd have seen her with the way she just, I looked at her for help on math, and she just completely gave me one of the most sarcastic eye rolls I've ever seen.
It was also that I didn't really want to have to do the math either.
Yeah.
To be honest,
we're up and going here. We're up and going. Reminder: you can always go to our live stream and hang out. Go to the Game TV Radio on YouTube and join us. 803-404-6100 is the early game.
Everything looks great out there on the highways this morning. Not really seeing any big backups to speak of. And fortunately, no accidents as well. But that cold front has moved in. 57 will be our high today, overnight low of 28. 53 tomorrow, 28 for the overnight low, and 57 on Sunday, and down to about 30. And kind of keep that pattern going really until about Thursday. Right now, though, it's a cool 43 on 107.5 The Game.
.35 as we get you going here on your Friday morning. Hopefully you've got the morning off and you're being able to relax and sit around, have a cup of coffee, and start mentally preparing or maybe continuing to unwind from a busy Thanksgiving Thursday and mentally starting to prepare for the big day tomorrow. Got a lot of great football on coming up today, Preston Thorne. It'll get going around noon with Oregon State at Boise State. Noon, which means it'll be an early kick out there in Boise, Idaho. Are you as excited about early kickoffs as I am?
Does that make it a 10 o'clock kick in Boise?
That's what I was trying to do the math on that very quickly because I got to be honest. I mean, you just heard me on the wrapping up the last segment. I can't add 24 plus 5. So now trying to think about what time zone that exactly is. I believe Boise is in the mountain time zone.
That was my guess, yes.
So, yeah, I believe they're close to 3 hours. So, yeah, it's going to be a very early and what I can only suspect chilly kickoff there against Oregon State. And if Boise wins that, I don't know if that necessarily assures them of getting into the college football playoff. I believe they'd still have to play in the championship game, but certainly would go a long way for them coming off of what we saw yesterday with Memphis last night beating Tulane. Mario Anderson Jr., by the way, did you see this last night? Mario Anderson, 177 yards rushing last night, 130 receiving in the upset of Tulane for Memphis.
I did see that. Congratulations to him.
And I think that's a
transfer portal on a Friday.
I was going to say, well, and I think that's a situation where it all worked out for both parties. Maybe not, I don't know how Anderson feels about, I read Mario. It's Mario Williams had the 130 yards receiving last night. But I do feel like Mario Anderson had a good year there at Memphis, and it worked out for him and for South Carolina. Obviously, with Rocket Sanders, it's more than worked out. So that's coming up also later on. And we'll get into more of this Oklahoma State at Colorado coming up at noon here in just a little while. 803-404-6100. On Wednesday night, Preston, the Gamecocks bounced back against Virginia Tech after that Monday loss to Xavier. I don't know how you felt about some other games around college basketball. I was keeping an eye out. Indiana got pummeled by Louisville on Wednesday, and it wasn't something that made me feel very good about that 16-point loss to the Hoosiers earlier this month.
Yeah, I could see how you might make that conclusion, but I just wonder if it was a bad night or if a different team showed up to play us. But I could see how you could come to that conclusion.
Yeah, it made me kind of wonder about both Indiana and South Carolina. After the game, though, Lamont Paris talked about bouncing back with a good win. Here's what Lamont Paris had to say after the game, after the 70-60 victory for the Gamecocks Wednesday night at the Fort Myers tip-off.
Good bounce-back win for the Gamecocks, so I was happy to see that. A lot of guys contributed. Happy to see that. A lot of decisions down the stretch that we needed to make in order to keep a little buffer there. Happy to see that. So a lot of good things in this game. Thought defensively we did a really good job. They have a good team. They know their stuff. They run their stuff. They fly off of these screens. I mean, you can't rest for a nanosecond on the defensive side when you're guarding those guys. And we got caught a couple times, but for the most part, I thought we were really determined to execute a defensive game plan, and that was really what made me happy. You can win a lot of different ways. Sometimes you can kind of just manufacture a win when you didn't play great, but I thought what was really encouraging to me was the execution of a game plan. I was really happy about that. That speaks volumes of what the team can ultimately become, especially on that side of the ball.
Preston, what did you? I'm not sure how much of the game you were able to watch, but what did you kind of take away from Wednesday night's victory?
Well, just listening to Lamont just now and going back to the clip that we played earlier this year about, I'm not asking you to do, I'm telling you to do this. And he, again, emphasized the execution of the defensive game plan, meaning this is what we plan to do, and you all, regardless of the circumstances that were thrown at you, you actually went out there and got that done. So it's what is interesting to me about learning who Lamont is as a coach is you just find out what he values as a coach. And obviously he values being able to put in a game plan and then execute that game plan. And you don't really hear coaches talk about that on the defensive side very often.
Going back to what you kind of brought up, you can still tell I'm going to use the word frustrated, but I'm not 100% sure that's right. But you can, watching him coach, he's not getting necessarily what he wants. But I did feel like on Wednesday night, it was a lot closer to what he wants. The Gamecocks were 11 of 32 from three-point range. Matter of fact, if you want to, I don't know if you've got it in front of you, I'll give you a second to get your fart analytics out and go through that. Do you have those ready?
We have them looking at the computer's running a little bit slow today on Thanksgiving. A little lag time in the computer, but we do have the raw data. We don't have it broken down analytically yet.
All right, what do you got for us here?
Okay, so one of the big things is if you look at it through the lens, this game was really close. Mm-hmm. Both teams. The problem with South Carolina, maybe where they should have pulled away a little bit in this game, was they still struggled from the free throw line. 62%. They have to get that up. So that's the free throws missed. They missed 8 free throws. But assists and rebounds pretty much even for both teams. Not much of a difference there. And then the turnovers, where you look at the points of turnovers, pretty even. So South Carolina outplayed them, I think, and maybe the score might have been a little bit higher if they could have made some more free throws.
Yeah. One of the things you pointed out, you talk about more free throws, 13 of 21 from the foul line for the Gamecocks. Actually, a fairly decent shooting night for Zach Davis, by the way, 4 of 8 from the field, 1 of 2 from the three-point range, 3 of 4 from the foul line. I mentioned he had 12 points and 7 rebounds in that game for the Gamecocks, so a nice contribution there from Zach Davis. But 13 of 21 overall. As I went through just individual statistics, you'd like to see Jamari Thomas and Jacoby Wright, your two guards, maybe even your point guards. You'd like to see those guys be 100%. But other than that, there was nobody that stood out good or bad in terms of missed free throws. Again, Colin Murray Boyles was 2 of 4. Davis, 3 of 4. Jamari Thomas, 3 of 5. Jacoby Wright, 4 of 6. Preston. Miles Studi, 1 of 2. But I think that's important, is you didn't have anybody that you went, whew, that doesn't look good at all.
Correct. That's true. But if this is a team that we're projecting is going to win some games in the margins, they're going to have to get up closer to 75, 80%. If there's going to be some games that come down to whether they can make a free throw or miss a free throw.
One other guy that stood out a little bit on Wednesday night for me, he only got 8 minutes of action. I want to see in the month of December the continued development of Jordan Butler. He is a really interesting prospect that, follow me on this, is not similar to B.J. Mack at all, but yet is in the same vein as B.J. Mack, as he gives you one of those big guys, a 7-footer, that can step out and knock down a three. Now, you and I laughed. I forget we were watching, we were watching one highlight here one morning, and I was showing you how Jordan Butler ran straight to the wing and didn't even bother going into that painted area with all the big, mean uglies down there. He doesn't want to go bang around down there. He wants to be one of those pretty guards out on the perimeter shooting the threes and making the symbols when he's running back down the floor. But I do think he's an interesting piece to this puzzle to open up the floor a little bit.
Well, Jordan Butler is a better athlete than B.J. Mack was.
I
say athlete as in he can jump. B.J. Mack was not going to jump, but what B.J. Mack would do is he would get inside and give you the McHale fake and the up and unders and do all this stuff, and he would get points in the paint. And so Jordan Butler is going to have to develop that part of his game.
I do want to see what happens with his development through the month of December, because you look at this schedule and where this team can continue to improve and what games give you the opportunity to maybe get a few more minutes for a guy like Jordan Butler, for a guy like Cam Scott. We'll continue talking some basketball, but we'll get back into football. Also, we'll get into a little bit of post-meal analytics. We'll hear what Preston Thorne and Jen Jensen have to say, breaking down the post-meal analytics from yesterday. Chris Deering still set to join us this morning at about 7:15. We got a lot going on here as we roll along. You're listening to the Friday morning, Football Friday edition of the early game. Here are Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen. Reminder, coming up in about 40 minutes, we are going to have our drawing for the Carolina Clemson football tickets, Carolina Clemson men's basketball tickets, and Carolina Clemson baseball tickets. The winner will be drawn at 7:30 a.m., so roughly about 40 minutes from now. If you went by either of our live broadcasts last week, either at Cato's Power Equipment or at the Nest, and you registered, you could be the winner. So we will do that at 7:30 coming up this morning. Also, a reminder later on today on coming up later on today on our sister station. Or excuse me, that's tomorrow. Tomorrow, I got my days mixed up here. We will have South Carolina women against Purdue. There will be a 10:30 pregame and then 11 o'clock tip-off tomorrow for the women's team down at the Fort Myers tip-off. So we'll have a busy day for you tomorrow. But a reminder, the women's team, after Preston, after what they did, that was, again, 32 to nothing run yesterday to pretty much seal that game in the first half.
Yeah, that's like I said. Iowa State got a tough draw, man. You don't want to be the team that's on the other side of a team that just broke a 43-game winning streak. That's probably a rough spot for them to be in.
Yeah, not the way you want that to go. So, but we'll have coverage of the women's game as well. You can have that on while you're watching the football game tomorrow. 803-404-6100. So give us a little bit of a preview here. Post-meal analytics, Preston. What do you got for us?
So post-meal analytics, we're breaking down what our eating day looked like yesterday, and I had a revelation, and what I think I was getting towards this when we started talking about desserts. I'm not interested in desserts on Thanksgiving, Bill. Zero desserts for your boy on Thanksgiving.
Really?
I just don't have the space for it. I don't have the capacity for it. Don't do desserts on that. Now today, I will go back to the desserts.
Okay.
But Thanksgiving meal, I don't have any room. So 0 desserts. I had a record of 6 sides on my plate, and I did go double meat on my plate that I made. 6 sides, double meat, 0 desserts.
That's what you call all in.
So, So let's start with his 6 sides on one plate, or with he spaced out with maybe 4 on the first plate and 2 on the second one?
Bill only went 1 plate.
Oh, really?
1 plate. Yep. Went with one plate. It was large. It was not a small plate, but only 1 plate, and I did have 6 sides.
Jen, how many plates for you yesterday?
Just 1, and I guess side-wise it was 4.
4, okay.
Yeah, I guess so. And then just the turkey. We did not do a second meat.
Okay, so I was the only chunky one who went with 2 plates.
Oops.
There's nothing wrong with that.
This is why we're breaking this down, Bill. This is why we're breaking this down.
I went 2 plates, and now you got me thinking. So we had a big family. We had a ham, delicious ham. Turkey made me feel good. We had a lot more ham because the ham was prepared by somebody else, nobody in the family. But the turkey was mine. I did the turkey. Lauren brined it. We had it all set. We got it on the grill at 11. We got it on the smoker at 11:30. Used a combination of pecan pellets and cherry pellets. I kept telling that yesterday, and everybody goes, pecan. I was like, no, as my producer Jen says, pecan is what you take on a road trip. And Jen, I'll say that when you explain it in that form and fashion, nobody argues with you.
And yet I know that
it stops everybody cold in their tracks.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to change Southern pronunciations.
But we got it on, and really did take it off probably about 5.5 hours of cooking there, which went very, very well. And but the turkey was gobbled up. But now let's see, we had a broccoli casserole. I had that. We had green bean casserole. I had that. Lauren's mother made I'm going to call it a souffle because I don't exactly remember, but it was like a corn like souffle type. And it was really good. Had a sweetness to it. Really, really good. I had 1 roll. We did not have mashed potatoes. We did have rice. I did not do that. Lauren put together some collards, and I went with collards. That was So that's at
Good
5.
call.
That's at 5 right there, Preston. And mac and cheese. So 6 sides also, I think. And
It's good.
I
Big
feel like
sides.
I feel like I'm leaving. Oh, 7. Dressing, stuffing, dressing.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, you know what? I missed that. I missed that on my plate yesterday. So that's going to have to be – that's why there's today.
yeah, you're exactly right. And again, lots of football. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, not only did I have 2 plates, I had 7 sides on there to top both of you. How about that?
There you go.
How about those analytics?
Nothing wrong with
How's
that.
that potato?
And now you have to determine how you were going to utilize those leftovers. Like with the mashed potatoes, I like to do like potato pancakes
Okay.
because that's a good way to do it. But again, now you start trying to be creative with the sides because you don't want them to go to waste.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, no, it'll be a very interesting day because it's, as you mentioned, or at least around here, it'll be kind of chilly, so you can maybe kind of bundle up, stay in the house today. We'll give you a football breakdown when we come back. It gets going here in about 5 hours. I mentioned Oregon State, Boise State, Oklahoma State, Colorado. We got plenty of football on to get to today. A couple games that are really interesting. We'll talk about that. We'll talk a little high school football as well with Chris Deering coming up the next hour. We'll get more into some breakdowns of South Carolina and Clemson. A lot to get to there. Preston wants to get into the 3 types of rivalry. We'll hear about that as well. Bill Gunner for the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. Let me tell you something. If you are thinking about making a move in 2025, unbelievable. I mentioned it earlier. Here we are, just 2 days away from heading into December, and you might be thinking about your home in 2025. If you're thinking about refinancing, if you're thinking about moving, the first thing you need to do is call the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank, and see what interest rates and what options are available to you. You never know. You could end up saving a whole lot of money. So make that phone call first, 803-719-1005. That's how you can reach him. You can also email him, the letter J, Crowder, CROWDER, at firstpalmetto.com. Right now, if you're thinking about moving into Richland County, or if you're in Richland County, Blythewood, Northeast, Southeast, or I-20 corridor, and thinking about moving around in there, give him a call and ask him about the community reinvestment product. It's a great interest rate. It's a great deal, and something, if you're thinking about moving in Richland County, you need to find out about. Call the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder, today. Tell him Bill Gunner sent you.
And out there on the highways, things looking pretty good. We kind of expect that. not quite as many people out and about, but be careful if you're out doing a little bit of early morning shopping. 57, that will be our high today, but that overnight low of 28, 53, and 28 tomorrow. And then on Sunday, 57 with an overnight low of 30. And that pattern continues into at least the middle part of next week. But right now it is a cooler start than we've had recently. It is 43 on 107.5 The Game.
Get out of your car, waving your flags, and head on into your local store to start your Black Friday shopping. Jen, you said you didn't see a lot of people out. I'll admit, as I drove by the Target coming out of Lexington, it was pretty crowded.
Was it? I didn't even pay attention.
I just happened to look over. You know, it's just something that looks abnormal, and you kind of just, I was like, oh, that's a lot of cars. And then I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. It's Black Friday. I'm sure it doesn't look like maybe it did 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, when it was all crazy.
Black Friday shopping is so odd now because, Preston, did the missus or any of the family members, did they get on their phones or computers yesterday during Thanksgiving and start their Black Friday shopping?
I don't know. I mean, I saw people on their phones. I don't know what they were doing. I would probably guess that there was maybe some Amazon browsing or some big box retailers also.
Yeah, because the Black Friday sales, I think, actually started like Wednesday. You don't even have to wait until.
Yeah, I think even earlier. It's Black Friday week.
Yeah, it gets going very, very quickly, and you get inundated with. I was looking at my emails when I came in this morning. Best Buy and Walmart and all kinds of places telling me about their television deals and what they've got. And I was like, oh boy. Yeah, good luck. Don't look at your emails. Don't look at your emails today because otherwise you're going to end up buying some kind of large television for an extremely low price and then wonder what you were doing. But nonetheless.
I saw a video of Black Friday from the 90s, which might as well be ancient history to say somebody like Austin. And I would say we look like an uncivilized society. You know, we say about how things were better back then. And that video I saw, they were like, wow, people were crazy. It was wild, the videos that I was seeing about people rushing stores and fighting over sorry TVs that aren't even close to as good as the ones that we have now.
Cabbage Patch Kids back in the day.
Yeah. Not a great look for society in the 90s. No. So anytime we want to get into things were a lot more civilized back then. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay.
No, humanity was not well represented in some of those.
Well, if you're out and about, being a part of it, be safe this morning. Just be safe and don't go fighting anybody over a Cabbage Patch doll in the local store. It's just not worth it. There's more of them out there, and we still got plenty of shopping days until Christmas. So hang in there. 803-404-6100. Speaking of a man who probably enjoyed a few good Black Friday deals and got out the stores very early, probably in the 90s, let's go to the phone lines. Gamecock Larry wants to weigh in this morning. Gamecock Larry, how you feeling this morning?
Well, I feel okay. I just want to thank Ruth Ogden's wife and daughter for bringing me by a sausage biscuit. It has sent me home yesterday. I got to go to Prisma Health for something wrong with, do something to the heart when the next week. But I just want you all to keep me in your prayers. And just remember, I love all y'all. And everything's going to be all right either way. But I appreciate 107.5. And my family decided to have Thanksgiving today when they heard I was coming home. But I done forgot what I predicted. The devil. This is Gamecock Larry from Swansea, South Carolina. You making all that money. I ain't making none. We gonna beat you about 41-1. Go game. Cox, love all y'all. Have a great weekend.
Love you too, buddy. 41-1. Well, his prediction, which I think is a good one, not 41-1, 37-24. I continue to stand by. I think he might have the winner there. He's been very close, Preston, the last few weeks. He's been very, very close to nailing it. And we'll have to see if Gamecock Larry hits it this week. He, I think, he was very close with the Texas A&M score. He was very close with the Wofford score, and we'll see if he's able to get the Clemson score there. But hope you feel good, big guy. We're pulling for you. We all love you as well, and always appreciate you there, Gamecock Larry. So glad you're back home and enjoy a little Thanksgiving today. Rest and watch some football. 803-404-6100. How you can weigh in if you want to do so. Mention the schedule for today as we get you going here. The schedule starts, as I mentioned, 12 o'clock. Oregon at Boise State. They'll take on each other. That'll be on Fox. On ABC, you can check out prime time. Oklahoma State and Colorado. Colorado coming off of that loss last week to Kansas, knocked them out of the playoff contention. But Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy, not been his best year, but we'll see that at noon. Minnesota and Wisconsin coming up at 12 today on CBS. Those are kind of your main noon games. Navy at East Carolina as well on ESPN. So I'll tell you, we'll get into more of that as we roll along this morning. But coming up next, Chris Deering will join us. We'll talk a little high school highlights with him. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
looking pretty good out there this morning. I'm not really seeing anything on the boards as far as accidents are concerned. Awesome. And not seeing any major slowdowns as well. That forecast, it's just going to be cooler than it has been. 57 today, 53 tomorrow, 57 on Sunday. Those overnight lows, though, in the upper 20s. And right now, it's fair skies, and it's 43 on 107.5 The Game.
Another week of high school football. Now we're into some high school basketball as well. And joining us as he does each and every Friday morning to give us the breakdown, the one and only Chris Deering. And Chris, hopefully you are coming off of a very fun, enjoyable, and filling Thanksgiving Thursday.
Yes, Thanksgiving was awesome. I'm in the big city of Wildwood, Missouri, right outside of St. Louis right now. I have my grandson's first birthday today, so we are here to celebrate that.
That makes it even better Thanksgiving, something truly to be thankful for. So congratulations on that, and sounds like a whole lot of fun for you, but going to be a whole lot of fun tonight for some more high school football games here in the Midlands. As we start to wrap up, give us a breakdown real quick of what you saw last week that kind of stood out to you.
Well, you know, we had some teams go on the road last week and pick up some wins, some Midlands teams that, you know, I don't think necessarily surprised too many people. Ridgeview went on the road and knocked off Cane Bay. Cane Bay was a great story. They started 0-7, then won 3 games in a row to win their region. But Ridgeview went down and knocked them off. And then, you know, White Knoll went on the road and beat Myrtle Beach, and that was, again, I don't think a lot of people were surprised by that aspect of it either. Maybe the biggest game last week was Camden and who did they play? Wren. And that, you know, that was a 43-42 shootout that went down to the wire. I think with about a minute to go, Camden scored and went for 2 and got it. So just a lot of teams went on the road last week and won games. And, you know, historically when you get into the playoffs, it's the home teams that win. But we were able to get some teams in the middle that had road games and won. And so I think that's big going into tonight. You got several teams going on the road again. But I don't think you can count them out. I think they got a chance to win.
Let's look at tonight, and tell you what, the first thing let's give your alma mater just a little bit of love tonight. You mentioned White Knoll going on the road. They got to, I guess, go on the road again tonight, head down to Berkeley for a game down there.
Yeah, they head to Berkeley tonight, and I don't think this is a really good matchup for the Stags. I like this White Knoll team. I think they're healthy now. They're really big on the offensive line. Landon Sharp is really good at quarterback. Tyon Fanning at running back is really good. They got the brothers, the Geronimo brothers. They're really good. I just don't think this is a good matchup for Berkeley with White Knoll being healthy. So the Timberwolves might go on the road again and pull off another upset. And if they do, it's a very good chance that they get an Irmo team next week. That some people, even when the brackets came out, said it might come down to White Knoll and Irmo in the lower state, and that's what we might end up getting next week.
Let's come back here to the Midlands. Dutch Fork will host Dutch Fork hosts River Bluff tonight. Tom Knott, it's supposed to be in the 50s. Tom Knotts will be wearing his shorts.
Yeah, Tom will be in shorts. I'm sure through the duration of Dutch Fork's playoff run, however long that is. And, I was talking to somebody about this game earlier this week. I think the first time they played it was 42-14. Dutch Fork won. And what does somebody have to do to beat this Dutch Fork team? And I think you have to limit possessions, and that's probably to run the play clock down as far as you can and keep the chains moving. Get first downs when you give an opportunity, and keep that offense off the field, and limit the time that they're on the field. And hopefully, when they do have the ball, that you can create some turnovers, which nobody's done this year. But this Dutch Fork team's gonna be hard to beat. I mean, they are hitting on all cylinders. They're just really good. I mean, you can't say anything else other than they're really good. They've been number one. There was one poll out there that didn't have Dutch Fork number one at the beginning of the year. I have to say the prep writer we've had them number one from the beginning, and there's a reason for that. They're that good. Defensively, one of the best I've seen Tom Knotts have. So it's going to be a tough task for River Bluff, but, they got that big offensive line, a really good running game. I think they've made a change at quarterback, and if all that works out for them, they might have stay in the game and make it a game into the second half, and that's what you want to do right now.
Big one down in the PD tonight. Hartsville and South Florence. South Florence 9-3 heads to Hartsville 10-1-1.
Yeah, they just played a few weeks ago, and Hartsville came out with a really big win, and that one to win the region. So that probably means South Florence has to go to Kellytown tonight and, try to pull off the upset. And that one is, again, that's a good one. You got to hope Hartsville makes some mistakes, I think, if you're South Florence, because they pretty much dominated that first outing, and that's going to be a tough task. But, I always say teams that's been there and done it, and, Drew Marlowe and South Florence have been in the championship the last 2 years. They have a lot of talent. They got the Adams kids going to Clemson. Jaden Sellers is going to South Carolina. So they got really good talent. But it's, again, hard to go to Kellytown in November and win a football game, and that's what somebody's got to do tonight. And I like the Red Foxes in that one.
Batesburg, Leesville, and Clinton tonight. 12-0 Batesburg, Leesville, and 9-2 Clinton.
This might be the best game on the docket tonight. There's 24 games to be played tonight, 48 teams still playing, and this might be the best one out of all of them. Batesburg's undefeated. They get the home game tonight, but that Clinton team is really good. I expect that one to go down to the wire. I don't expect either team to pull away from the other one. If the Amadre Wooden, the running back for Batesburg Leesville, he did go for 334 yards last week, which was a school record. He's over 2,000 yards rushing on the season, but they probably have to get something out of their passing game tonight, and it's been pretty good all season long. They don't throw it that much, but when they do, I mean, there's a kid, a wide receiver, defensive back, he's an athlete. Katie Witt that plays for Batesburg, I really like him a whole lot. He's only a junior, and he's got to have a big game, I think. But this was probably the best game, in my opinion. This was probably the best game of the weekend in all classifications.
Let's go back to 4A for a second. Gilbert has slipped through. They didn't have the season they wanted, but they knocked off Lower Richland in the first round, went down to Bishop England, won by 6 last week. Now they got a really tough test. They got to head to North Augusta tonight.
Yeah, this is a rematch. This is a region matchup, a rematch of a game earlier this year. North Augusta won 37-14. So it's going to be a tall task for Gilbert. But, we thought Gilbert could be good at the beginning of the season, and they struggled, and we couldn't really put our finger on why they were struggling. And they seem to have righted the ship now in the playoffs. That was a big win going down to Charleston last week and beating Bishop England. Bishop England got just won games all year, close games, and it was a close one last week. Gilbert came out on top. The offense for Gilbert seems to be playing better. But North Augusta, their running back, Michael Doe, he's probably not known across the state as well as a lot of other running backs, but I saw him early in the season. Actually, it was in the Jamboree over at Lexington, and came away really impressed with him. He's had a really great season. So rematch from they played back on September 20th, so it's not like they just played a couple weeks ago. So a lot has changed since then. So let's see if that Gilbert offense can keep it going on the road over to North Augusta.
Should be a really fun one in 2A tonight. Barnwell and Sherall taking on each other. Barnwell rolling through the playoffs right now. Now they run into a 10-2 Sherall team.
Yeah, so in that bracket, the lower state bracket in 2A, all four number one seeds advanced, and Barnwell and Sherall are two of them. Barnwell's yet to go up any points in the playoffs, two back-to-back shutouts, and playing really well. William Robinson, a big guy on the defensive line, played really well, and they got their work cut out for them this week with a really good Sherall team, but again, I think Barnwell's at home, and that's going to be a tough place to go over and win. Like I say, at this point, at this stage of the game, the home teams have the advantage, in my opinion, and that's going to be a good one. I said Batesburg and Clinton might be the best game of the night. This one is another really evenly matched two teams.
Let's stay here in the Midlands for a second. They got to go on the road, but Keenan comes off a 38-7 victory over Orangeburg. They got to travel to Loris tonight.
Yeah, a lot of people are pegging this one as maybe a potential upset as well. That Keenan offense has been really good. I saw them against Newberry about a month or so back, and since that game, their offense has not been really slowed down. And they got a lot of talent. The McNeil brothers. I know Zach Norris, he talked about basketball at the beginning. Zach Norris is waiting on one of them. I think he's the starting point guard, but they're good on the football field too. So a lot of people think that Keenan can go on the road and win this one at Loris, but Loris is, people forget maybe that Loris beat Dillon earlier this year, and I saw Dillon last week against Newberry, eliminated the Bulldogs, and so Dillon's really good, and this Loris team beat them, so this could be, again, that's a long bus ride for Keenan to go over to the Grand Strand area, but if they bring that offense with them, they might win that one in the shootout, and that's what a lot of people are expecting, but I think Larson's could be hard to beat at home.
Preston is on the road today, so he's in and off on the phone lines, but Ridgeview has got to go to the home of the Fighting Preston Thorns and go visit Summerville tonight.
Yeah, I actually talked to Derek Howard earlier this week about that game. He's actually never been to Summerville, and I was telling him, sort of the layout of the land and what to expect. And Preston knows very well about that stadium and the close quarters and the fans, and right on top of you a little bit on both sides. So, but talking to Coach Howard, he liked where his team was. They're getting healthy. They've played, and I didn't really realize this until I talked to him. They've got 4 losses on the year, but 3 of them came to teams that are still undefeated. So it's not like he's played the easiest schedule in the state. He's had his team prepared for this part of the season, and he gets another undefeated team tonight in Summerville. So if Trey Howard, his quarterback, his son, if he can go down and have a really good game, it's over 250, maybe 300 yards. He's got Jordan Gidron, who is finally, I think, getting back from his knee injury in midseason. He's been playing, but hadn't been putting up numbers. He did come out of the game last week and didn't play but maybe a quarter, so hopefully he's back tonight. And then Chris Jackson, another wide receiver they have over at Ridgeview. He's a sophomore, putting up really big numbers. I think he's close to 50 catches on the year. So maybe they can go down and give Summerville a battle. Summerville's allowed some points, but nobody's really stopped that offense for the Green Wave, and that's going to be a big challenge for Ridgeview tonight.
Let's go down to Single A, and this will be a really fun one. Abbeville and Lamar.
Yeah, Abbeville and Lamar, Lamar is historically a good team in Class A, but Abbeville dropped down to Class A this year, and we said this was sort of the Abbeville Invitational before the season even started. We felt like this was the Abbeville Invitational, and that's going to be a tough task for Lamar. Just Abbeville's got so much talent, and DeMarcus Leach, he's a South Carolina commit. He's doing a little bit of everything for them right now, and he plays on both sides of the ball. It's just going to be a tall task for Lamar to try to pull that one off. Their coach, Stephen Burris, I know he's excited about the challenge, and that's going to be a tough one to facing that Abbeville team.
Any others that I've missed tonight that we need to highlight?
Let's see. Did we cover all the Midlands team? Well, we missed Westside and Camden.
Okay, all right.
But, Westside, Camden had that big win last week, but they got to go on the road again against the defending state champs, against Cutter Woods, the quarterback, and that was going to be tough. Both of these teams, like I said, Westside won the state championship last year. Camden was in a different classification. They played for one last year, but now they got to go on the road and play that Westside team. A lot of people they think them and Dutch Fork might be the two best teams in the state. So that's going to be Coach Remp. He always has his team playing well in November. He's got the Tylen Drakeford kid. He's got JoJo Krim. But I just don't know if he's got enough firepower to go up and play against Westside and Cutter Woods and all those receivers he has up there. And then one more, maybe Fringe Midlands. James Island is going to Sumter. Sumter, another undefeated team. They've been playing really well. But that game, James Island has not allowed over 20 points 27 points. But only allowed over 23 times all year, and this Sumter team is scoring 50 points a game. So we'll see who wins that battle along the trenches.
It will be a fun night. It'll lead us one step closer to the state championship. Speaking of state championships, just to give a shout-out, Chris, I think I have this correct. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe two local teams win the competitive cheer state championships. I've got for 5A, 2 is what I read correctly, 5A in the second division, I guess. The Chapin High School women, the young girls, get it done out there in state championship for competitive cheer. And in 5A, I guess Division 1, it's my alma mater, Lexington, taking home another state championship.
Also, I think you had Great Collegiate as well, winning 4A. So I think we had three cheer teams from here in the Midlands win the state championships. So, yeah, historically, you look across the cheer landscape, and it's Lexington, Chapin, River Bluff, Great Collegiate are starting to make their mark. So cheer is really big in the Midlands area, and they've done it again this year, like you just mentioned.
Chris, we always appreciate it. Have fun with the family. We'll catch up with you next week.
Thanks, y'all. Have a great weekend, Bill.
You too. We'll be back with more Preston Thorne and a drawing.
Beautiful day out there. If you're out, doing a little early morning shopping, or if you're headed to work, it's pretty nice out there. No accidents. Don't really see any big backups. That's good. Don't even see any in near any shopping facilities. So it looks like everyone is behaving today. 57 for the high today. Overnight low 28. 53 tomorrow. 28 also. That overnight low Sunday looking for a high of 57. But these overnights are what are going to be chilly. So starting off our day a little cooler than it has been. Right now, 43 on 107.5 The Game.
All right. Let's give away a whole bundle of tickets right now. We got a little sandstorm that we can. Yep. All right. Here we go. If you went out to Cato's Power Equipment or you went out to the Nest on Tuesday or Wednesday, you signed up, and the lovely Miss Jen Jensen coming in to do this. I think she is recording it, and I've got it here on our live stream. We're going to give away a pair of tickets. Well, we're going to give away a whole bunch of tickets right here for tomorrow's football game, South Carolina and Clemson. We're going to give away tickets for the upcoming men's basketball game that'll take place December 17th, I believe. You can win a pair of tickets to that. And we have you tickets to South Carolina Clemson baseball. So we got a whole bunch. So here we go. All right, Jen, we got our live stream going here. Let's get our... Where's the camera at here? There we go. Okay. All right. Jen is recording. And Jen, go ahead. Reach in there. We got only one winner, Jen. Only one winner.
You have to be filming it properly.
All right. David Stevens of Irmo. David Stevens of Irmo, you have just won yourself tickets to football, to basketball, and to baseball for South Carolina and Clemson. Congratulations. So if you know David Stevens out in Irmo, go ahead, give him a phone call this morning. I got his phone number right here. I wonder how much that's worth. Give him a phone call and start hitting him up. Tell him how much you love him. And he is our winner of our grand ticket giveaway. David Stevens of Irmo has now won tickets to the football game tomorrow, to the men's basketball game against Clemson in December, and to the baseball game coming up. I believe that's a Sunday game. I believe that'll be a Sunday at Founders Park. I could be wrong about that, but he is one. Congratulations, David Stevens. Preston Thorne, lucky winner there.
Big time win. I'm sad I wasn't in the studio to see the procedure, the production of getting picked, because I always like to be a part of that. So congratulations to David.
We made it. We made it work. We made it work without you. It was
not the same. That's for sure.
That's right. And terrified yesterday. The one downside to yesterday, at the very end of the day, Lauren somehow broke our coffee pot, trying to clean it, and smacked it on our granite countertops. And I was terrified that we were going to have a repeat of that with our bowl here that we have, where all the drawings, all the entries were in. I was afraid I was going to drop it. But we made it. We made it work nonetheless. Preston, I know you took a quick break there. We did highlight the Summerville Green Wave hosting Ridgeview this weekend down there in Summerville in the third round of the playoffs.
Oh, no love for the Blazers. Obviously, I spent my professional career at Blythewood High School, and Blazers was our rival, and now they're going to go down to Summerville. Good luck packing their bags on the way to 26, coming back up 77. Go Green Wave.
There you go. So we got into that a little bit as we went through. Chris Deering's Berkeley Stags hosting White Knoll tonight in a game as well. So we'll get into that. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in if you want to do so. Preston, I mentioned the college football slate for tomorrow. Any of these noon games excite you? Minnesota at Wisconsin. Noon game at Camp Randall. It just sounds, my hands just went numb just thinking about how cold that game could be. Oklahoma State at Colorado or Oregon State at Boise State. That's today. I don't know why I said tomorrow. That's today, coming up here in just a few hours.
You know my affinity for Gundy, so the Oklahoma State and Colorado does intrigue me. I probably will lay some eyes on that.
Gundy trying to wrap up a season and get out of this thing. Just from the beginning of the season when he slightly endorsed drinking and driving to it's not been a season for Mike Gundy to remember. I think he's just ready to wrap this one up.
You know what? He gets the benefit of the doubt. Obviously, he's won a lot of games at Oklahoma State, but you're right. He got off on a very, very bad foot, and I don't think he ever recovered from that.
Later today, 3:30, Egg Bowl, Mississippi State at Mississippi. Vaught Hemingway, the Rebels are nearly a 4-touchdown favorite, minus 26.5.
Hey, Lane's been getting a little mouthy lately. Not that he's not mouthy, but he's talking the strength of schedule, and it's like, Lane, all you had to do was win. We wouldn't even be having these conversations.
Yeah, it makes you like. I think he knows. Look, I'm not sure Mississippi gets in. You know, we'll have this discussion more on Monday when we know the regular season final results and everything. But it feels like he realizes maybe one of his best chances has just gone out the window. And
he's just flailing. That's what you think is happening. He's kind of
deflecting.
Actually,
deflecting from the fact that he blew. Look, the more I thought about it, whenever our discussion was about the playoff. That's two really bad losses this year to Florida and to Kentucky at home. I mean, that's two bad losses. They do have the head-to-head over South Carolina, and I think that's going to end up mattering more to the playoff committee, in my opinion. I could be wrong on that. But those are two really bad losses. And I saw Brad Crawford put out a tweet the other day that said, really, of all the SEC teams, including Texas, it was Mississippi who may have ended up having the best schedule to get to a college football playoff.
So you're saying in some strange way we're going to help them twice by them getting a SEC victory and then by us being good, beating Clemson, that's going to look like an even better win now? Is that what you're saying?
That very well could be it. Yeah, you're exactly right about that. That's your 3:30 game tonight. Georgia Tech at Georgia. That line down to 18.5 in favor of the Bulldogs. Any chance they pull the upset?
Yes. I do think there's a chance. I'm not sure they will, but listen, Carson Beck's been giving away interceptions like Thanksgiving turkeys this year, so that's always a possibility. And then you shorten the game a little bit with Brent Key running the ball, and I'm not saying it will happen. I'm saying it can happen.
Also tonight, 7:30, I believe this will be it. This will be the end of an era tonight. The final. Now, Nebraska got bowl eligible, Preston, so look, there is another game. But I'm not sure that Nebraska will keep their tight end coach, Marcus Satterfield, through the end of next week.
The end of an era. I like how you put that. Two things on this, and we didn't have space in the program to put this because it's a busy week. One, Dana Holgerson was saying how the previous playbook was just so large that they had to throw away over 3/4 of it and just whittle it down. That's one thing. Two, 450 yards of total offense Nebraska had last week when the new offensive coordinator take place. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know.
There's your rundown for today's games. We'll get into tomorrow's games coming up in a little while with Brian Glenn and make our picks on that. We'll come back. We'll get a little bit more into some post-meal analytics as well as today's game plan for your snacking while we watch some of those great football games. And then coming up in the next hour, we'll get into some of the key matchups for South Carolina Clemson as well as what Preston wants to get into. A very interesting conversation on rivalry games, the different kinds. We'll talk about all of that as we roll along here. 7:44 on your Friday morning. Again, congratulations to, who was it?
David Stevens of Irmo.
David Stevens of Irmo, our ticket winner. You're listening to The Early Game. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years, Larry Leitner and the family have been the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And it's that history, that longevity that is your assurance that their professionals will provide proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility and do it in a manner both safe and pleasing to you. So whether it's your home, whether it's your business, if you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They are ready to take a phone call from you and help you with a maintenance contract. Again, you'll speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee. That's how they have been able to take care of their customers for nearly 30 years, by being there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. You can visit them online, midstateroofing.com. Call them today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. 7:50 as we roll along. Again, rivalry week, sponsored by Columbia Craft on Green Street, and we'll get you going bright and early, 7 a.m. tomorrow. Gamecocks game day right here on 107.5 The Game. And don't forget, we'll have our noon watch party over at O'Hara's Public House, 131 Main Street in Lexington. You can come over there and hang out. And, of course, we will have the game broadcast for you right here, 107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. But as we mentioned, we got a busy day of college football that'll lead us into another busy day tomorrow. And, Preston, that brings the question to you. How do you go about taking in today's games? Sandwiches, full plates, brand new food? Maybe you just swap it out and go with pizza today? What is the today's game plan?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What do people want to do today? Do you attack the meat with just the rolls? You use the rolls to do ham sandwiches, turkey sandwiches, etc. Do you just double back and make a whole new plate from yesterday with the leftovers that I'm sure are laying around, or is it just a one-day thing for you and you just get all new food? I'm curious. I'll probably take on some mixture of sandwiches plus full plate, but I'm wondering what y'all thinking.
It's a good question. It's going to kind of depend. It's going to kind of depend on where my day's kind of open right now, Preston, to be dead honest. I don't have a plan just yet. Some of these games, I don't know. It'll be interesting to have them on, if you will, but I don't know if any of them fully intrigue me enough to draw me to the television and sit down and really watch. Now, today, you do have some college basketball on as well. We've gotten a great week of college basketball, really some eye-openers throughout the last few days, whether it's Connecticut not winning any games out at the Maui Invitational, whether it's Duke knocking off Arizona this week, but then losing to Kansas earlier this week, Indiana just getting blown out in back-to-back games. You had Gonzaga losing to West Virginia. So I'll have to study the basketball schedule, but I'm thinking we got plenty of bread left over. I'm thinking it's sandwiches and sides.
Sandwiches and sides. Okay, so basically so you're going sandwiches and sides. So basically you're making a new plate.
Yeah, okay, yep, new plate. That'll probably be the direction.
Okay. All right, because some people only go strictly sandwiches, and then some people, they might be like, you know what, I did enough. Especially a lot of people that cook. I want something totally different. But I am interested. I'm probably going to go with the new plate because I said I only did one plate yesterday, and there's still some things I got to get back to today.
Now it's 7:53 here. The question is, when do you start? Do you go for a breakfast and then graze the rest of the day, or do you hold off for an early noon, like almost an 11 o'clock redo?
Well, I'm more of a natural skip breakfast, eat midday, so that's going to be what I would probably do. And then also I realized another thing that I think that Thanksgiving doesn't work for me so much is I'm more of a grazer. I like to eat throughout the day. So this day is actually a little bit better for me than just the one concentrated meal. I like to pick and, make my way around everything for the day. So this is probably a better food day for me. And I'm definitely doing desserts, multiple throughout the day.
Yeah, did y'all do anything, Jen? Did y'all have any specialty desserts?
No, I mean, we had gotten a cheesecake from somebody, and my mother-in-law made some brownies with pecans on it or something. There's something I usually make, but I'm like, well, I'm not going to do that now because we already had that. So nothing exciting.
Yeah, Preston, specialty desserts there at the Thorne household?
Yeah, we did have a couple specialties. My cousin makes a rum cake, which everybody in the family really loves, and now I think it's actually strong enough to where they tell the young people not to participate in the rum cake. It's that strong.
Oh.
So I do have that, and then my mother does an apple pie, and then we had sweet potato pie. So yeah, the desserts were plenty. I just didn't participate, but I am in the business today.
Okay. All right. Well, we will roll along this morning, get you some facts, some stats, some numbers. How many times have the Gamecocks and the Tigers met as AP, keyword here, AP top 25 opponents? And what's the record? We'll tell you about that. And is this one of the games where the most combined wins have ever happened? We'll tell you about that. Hour 3 on the way.
pretty easy morning as far as traffic is concerned. All looking good out there. Your forecast, 57. That's the high today. The overnight low, though, 28. We'll see that again tomorrow night. Tomorrow's high, 53. And on Sunday, 57 for the high. By Monday, we're actually going to drop to 50, and we'll be kind of in that vicinity for a couple days. But again, those overnight lows going to be chilly. Right now, starting off the day a little bit brisk, it is 43 on 107.5, The Game.
Up and at 'em on your Friday morning. Let's get your Black Friday shopping in. You got 4 hours till football. You got 4 hours till basketball. Actually, probably got 3 hours till basketball. Some games at 11 a.m. this morning.
Do some Garnet and Black Friday shopping.
Oh, look at Jen with that. Garnet and Black Friday shopping. Clever, clever. I see what you did there. Real quick, let's give you a real quick Gamecock whip around here. A little bit lighter week. No soccer this week, men's or women's. Their seasons have come to a conclusion. We mentioned earlier in the program, it was a 32-0 run yesterday that propelled Dawn Staley's team to a victory over Iowa State. They handled the loss to UCLA on Sunday fairly well. They come back and they just mush Iowa State yesterday. Iowa State was ranked, by the way. Preston, Iowa State was ranked. Let's not act like they played Coppin State or some low-level team that they've beaten up on. Iowa State was ranked 15th yesterday, and South Carolina wins 76-36 over the Cyclones in the Fort Myers tip-off. They will take on number 4 Purdue tomorrow at 11 a.m. We will have the pregame for that right here on 1320 WISW, our sister station. You can hear that, ESPN 1320. We will have that on for you as well. But Purdue's not ranked. South Carolina's number 4. I had the number in the wrong spot there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering. I was listening. I was like, Purdue? When did that happen?
Honestly, I was thinking the same thing, and then I was like, no, they got the number in the wrong spot. But South Carolina number 4, Purdue not ranked. They'll play each other. And then reminder with the women's team coming up on Thursday. It'll be the SEC ACC Challenge. The Gamecocks will host Duke here at home. That'll be Thursday, December the 5th. That game will be a 9 o'clock tip time, so take a nap on Thursday. The Gamecocks and Duke is part of the SEC ACC Challenge there in women's basketball. We mentioned men's basketball, Preston. We've talked a little bit about that this morning. South Carolina bounced back on Wednesday to knock off Virginia Tech 70-60 in a game that I thought was at least steps in the right direction, if you will be. I thought it was one of their better games of the season, but also don't think they've had a lot of great games this year.
Well, listen, man. As we stated, as long as you can win, as you're improving, then nobody's going to ask too many questions. As long as they keep getting things together. But early in the season last year, when we started really paying attention to this team, Bill, you were saying that you wanted to see a little bit more of the cohesiveness. Did you feel like they had that a little bit more against Virginia Tech?
We'll get into a little bit more next week with South Carolina, by the way, will play Boston College on Tuesday up there, part of the SEC ACC Challenge. That game will be at 7 o'clock. I say that because, there is some lineups that I want to see a little bit more of. I actually kind of – look, Morris Ugasuk and Jacoby Wright, they're not going to blow you away. These are not flashy players, Preston. Ugasuk and Jacoby Wright. But I like the way they've played together. It's two pretty good ball handlers. It's two guys with size. It's two guys with length. I personally, look, Jabari Thomas is playing fine. He's playing okay. He's not playing great. There's a part of me that just to make the pieces fit and to add energy, I don't know if I wouldn't mind seeing Jamari Thomas come off the bench to give you kind of that spark plug sixth guy, if that makes sense. That's just that's a personal coaching me thing. I don't think that, I know Lamont Paris probably wouldn't agree with it. It's just something that I might try just to see because I do kind of like how Ugasuk is playing, and I think he and Jacoby Wright give you a little bit more of that size and length in the backcourt that I think Lamont Paris really likes.
That all makes sense.
And that goes to real quick. That goes to your chemistry point because I felt like those two, the way they play is similar, and I feel like they play off of each other really well.
Like I said, that totally makes sense. It seems a little bit like this year, Miles Studi has been a little bit of I don't want to say forgotten, but hasn't necessarily cemented his role in the lineup yet. So I would like to see that happen a little bit more, either plus or minus wherever that goes. But yeah, they're still trying to figure things out.
Yeah, to be honest with you, one part of this team that needs to improve. Zach Davis stepped up and played better on Wednesday night, 12.7 rebounds. You really need one of Davis, Studi, or Cam Scott to really get going. We're all kind of waiting on Cam Scott. He played 15 minutes the other night, was 1 of 5 from the field, 0 of 4 from three-point range, and had just 2 points. Cam's going through that phase that a lot of young players do. They're just trying to figure things out right now. He's perfectly suited to play at this level. It's just a matter of, I think, gaining confidence in himself. For the first time, I'm watching a young man right there who's taken a step up in competition going to the SEC, obviously, and it's almost like he questions himself just a little bit on his shots. He's a better shooter than what he has been shooting on the season, Preston, and I think at some point you just need him to have a breakout game where he goes, oh, yeah, I am good at this sport. I do belong here.
Yeah, it's a big adjustment when you've been dominating for so long, and then all of a sudden all your little tricks don't work anymore, and you have to figure some other things out. But he'll get it together.
Yep. But, that is one thing. Going back to the other night, just real quick, talking about the Virginia game, Jacoby Wright in there had 7 points in the game, 2 assists and a turnover, and grabbed 3 rebounds. And Ugasuk had 12 points in the contest, and Ugasuk grabbed 3 rebounds, had assist and no turnover. So those are two guys, again, I'm kind of keeping an eye on as we move forward here. When those guys are on the floor together, how does it look? Is that kind of fitting what I kind of prefer? So that's basketball. Again, we'll get more into that maybe more on Tuesday. We'll really get into our FART analytics and get into the basketball team as we'll move past the Carolina-Clemson game. And South Carolina will have another big one. They'll go on the road. Boston College, not a particularly great team. Earl Grant, from down here from Charleston, still the head coach up there for Boston College, and the Gamecocks will get them on Tuesday, 7 o'clock. We'll talk a lot about that maybe on Tuesday and get more into that. As far as volleyball goes, all right, volleyball. A very good win on Wednesday, Preston Thorne, 3-2 over the Florida Gators. That match was here at home. Tomorrow, they'll wrap up the regular season against Texas A&M. That'll be a 1 o'clock contest. Going back to Wednesday night, Preston, the volleyball team, they beat number 18 ranked Florida. So that gets them to 6, 7, and 8. That gets them to 7 and 8 in conference, 16 and 10 overall. I think if they can win, based on just some of the things I've read, I have no clue about this, but based on what I've read, you win the matchup against Texas A&M tomorrow, your chances of you might go to the right side of the bubble for the NCAA volleyball tournament.
Okay. All right. So they got to keep going.
So there's your Gamecock whip around right now, and obviously we'll continue to do that, and we'll give you a Gamecock preview of the week coming up on Monday. 803-404-6100. All right, football tomorrow. That's the big thing. I got some numbers for you, Preston.
I'm ready for them. Let's go.
All right, let's start with the fact that both teams are ranked. AP national rankings, all right? AP, not the college, because there is a small caveat to this. In 2017, South Carolina and Clemson played each other as ranked teams, but that was according to the college football playoff. The Gamecocks had gotten in at number 24. In 2017, the Gamecocks were not ranked by the AP. Do you know how many times, because I messed this stat up and I now see, because I counted college football playoff rankings, do you know how many times the Gamecocks and the Tigers have met previously as ranked teams?
I do not.
Jen, you want to take a stab? Long rivalry.
Shoo, man. I'm thinking it's only about 2.
A few more than 2. This year will mark the 7th matchup between the Gamecocks and the Tigers as ranked teams.
I knew it was sure it was more than 10, but wow, I didn't know it was that many.
Can I put a pin in that? Yeah. 2 was 7 is not a lot more than 2 when you consider how many times this game has been played.
Yeah, I didn't want to get into that. Why are you going to bring that one up?
But yes, 7. All right, let's go. More numbers. Let's go.
Hold on. Do you want to know the record in the 6 previous matchups when these two teams have been ranked? Do you two want to guess at the record? Jen, I'll let you go first.
4-2.
6 previous matchups. 4-2.
Carolina.
Preston, you want to weigh in?
I'm gonna go Carolina also. Maybe 5 and 1.
5 and 1 is the correct answer.
Well done.
Unfortunately, the last loss when both teams were ranked came in 2000 when Rod Gardner shoved our guy to the ground, stepped on him, committed 3 penalties in one play, and none of them got called. And Clemson, 16-14. Yep. 1979, South Carolina was 19, Clemson was 13. AP top 25. South Carolina was number 19, Clemson was 13. Gamecocks won 13-9. 1987, the Gamecocks were number 12 in the country. Clemson was number 8. South Carolina won 20-7. 2000 up at Memorial Stadium. South Carolina was number 25 in the polls. Clemson was 16. Tigers won 16-14. 2011, South Carolina is the only time in the history of this rivalry that South Carolina came into the game in 2011 ranked higher than Clemson. I was actually surprised by this fact in 2011, 2012, and 2013. But in 2011 is the only year South Carolina was ranked higher than Clemson in this matchup. South Carolina was number 14. Clemson was number 18. The Gamecocks won 34-13. In 2012, well, that was a pretty good South Carolina football team. The Gamecocks, according to AP Top 25, were number 13. Clemson was number 12. Gamecocks won 27-17. And in 2013, the last time these two teams met, ranked in the AP Top 25, South Carolina was number 10. Clemson was number 6. Gamecocks won 31-17.
So what you're saying is that Clemson can beat up on little old South Carolina when South Carolina's not very good. But
Correct.
When we're good, they're scared.
Yes, that's exactly.
I love
yes.
that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Very
They're
good.
bullies. They don't want anybody that's ready to stand up to them.
That is right. Now, let me give you, this is not a stat. This is a fact. Tomorrow, South Carolina could accomplish a first ever. First time ever tomorrow. Do you two want to guess what the first ever opportunity for South Carolina? This one's going to be hard. I got $100 on me. If either one of you can get it, maybe you should get it. Maybe you should get my $100. You won't. But can Preston, I'll start with you. First time ever. South Carolina is looking to do something for the first time ever tomorrow. Preston, we have talked a little bit about this. This is not something we have not discussed on the program. We've not discussed the first chance South Carolina ever has, but this is something that has been discussed on this program. Preston, you want to take a guess?
It'll be South Carolina's first chance to ever win a game at Clemson when both teams are ranked in the top 15 in the CFP poll.
That could be, but that's not what I'm good. That's not the answer we're going for. I'm Steve Harvey right now. That is not, or whoever, that is not what we're looking for. Jen, you want to take a guess?
Donuts, my friend.
It's always a great guess. You can never go wrong guessing donuts. Tomorrow, with a victory, It'll be the first time ever South Carolina has captured all 3 trophies in the same season. The well-known Bonham Trophy, the Mayor's Cup, and, of course, the Palmetto Bowl Trophy.
Wow. That's some pretty significant hardware in a season.
Did not think I was going to get that one. That was, I feel like that should have been $10,000.
Okay. Well, that's why I felt comfortable going, all right, how much do I have in my wallet? Yeah, okay. That's number one. So the first time ever on the line for the Gamecocks. A win tomorrow. The Gamecocks will then be the owners of the Bonham Trophy. We actually don't know where it's at. That Bonham Trophy has disappeared. But technically they would be the winner of it. The Mayor's Cup and the Gamecocks would have the Palmetto Bowl Trophy. They would be the first time ever. They have never captured all 3 trophies in the same season. Of course, we've only been doing that for a little over a decade right now. One more real quick. A win tomorrow would mark the fourth time in school history the Gamecocks have won 9 regular season games. 9 regular season games. It would be the 4th time ever. It would also be the 8th time the Gamecocks have ever won 9 or more games. We'll come back. We'll get into some of these stats. Let y'all weigh in on those. You're listening to The Early Game. Bill Gunner for Old Timey Meat Market. Oh, you heard us talking about all the sides. You heard us talking about all the fixings. And, of course, that incredible turkey. Well, Old Timey Meat Market not only had us taken care of for our Thanksgiving dinner, they had us taken care of for our Thanksgiving breakfast. That's right. It was some sausage, the Southern-style biscuits, absolutely delicious. And now, with Thanksgiving behind us, you got to start thinking about Christmas and what your Christmas meal is going to be. Well, stop by Old Timey Meat Market today. Check out all the great offers they have, whether it's steak, pork, poultry, even great seafood. Old Timey Meat Market has you covered. Trust me, they've already got us covered for this weekend as well, whether it's the bacon cheddar burgers, maybe a great steak for tonight. Whatever it is, Old Timey Meat Market has you taken care of. Visit one of their 3 locations, South Congaree, St. Andrews Road in Irmo, or the Lexington store where you're going to run into me. Again, stop by Old Timey Meat Market today, South Congaree, St. Andrews Road in Irmo, or the Lexington store. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
It's been a pretty smooth morning out on the highways. We're not seeing any accidents, no big slowdowns that we really have to mention. So really good out there today. Obviously, a few less people out there, but hope your morning is going well. Stay warm. It's chilly. It'll be 57 today, but that overnight low 28. Tomorrow, 53 and 28 for the overnight low. Come Sunday, much of the same. 57 will be the high. But right now, like I said, it's a little brisk. 43 on 107.5 The Game.
.821, rolling along, informing the masses of all the big stats and numbers for the upcoming weekend. And Preston Thorne, we are now joined in studio by the one and only Brian Glenn, who, Brian, we've all given our Thanksgiving meals. Well, Preston, wait till you hear what Brian Glenn had to have.
I had spaghetti, sir.
Nope. We got Preston potted up there. Preston, do we have you?
Here, I can hear you.
Okay, there we go. Yes, you heard Brian Glenn with spaghetti. Now he has a reasoning.
Yeah, and that's and I wanted to hear him out a little bit. So I'm going to give you some time. Explain, sir.
Well, a little bit of health issues with the father-in-law, so he wasn't feeling good earlier in the week. We made the adjustment. We pushed the big meal to Saturday. So
okay.
My wife cooked up a big batch of sauce yesterday. My mom and sister got into town, and we had spaghetti.
I like it. I still like it because we're doing a couple of things that we have to do on Thanksgiving. We still have family and friends in together. We're still partaking in traditional family meals. So I'm good with it. And then you're having the meal on Saturday too. It's all good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was good. Cooking all day. Thank you for the approval.
The Thanksgiving leftovers now, are they only good through the weekend? On Sunday night, do you look in there and be like, they got to go?
No, they got to go in my mouth.
No, I'm just saying if they're still there on Sunday night.
Yes.
If you start on Thursday.
That's where it's good for me. Now I'm doing the meal on Saturday. I mean, I can take turkey sandwiches for Monday and Tuesday to work.
There you go. Preston, are you with that? While delicious, and they likely will be gone, but if they're still there on Sunday night, you have to be like, all right, these get thrown away now.
Yeah, it's a wrap. For me personally, it's a wrap after today.
Okay.
As far as the sides are concerned, like I said, I'm going back again today. But Saturday, give me something new. The spaghetti, maybe Chinese food, maybe subs for the game. I'm doing something new by the time Saturday comes around.
Okay. All right. So there you go. So we'll continue down a little bit of a foodie path, but football, and you just heard those stats I gave. Again, all-time record when South Carolina and Clemson have met, 5-1 in favor of the Gamecocks. And unfortunately, Preston's right. It's kind of sad that we've played over 100 times and only 6 meetings have involved first-ranked opponents.
I think that right there, a lot of people who have been born and raised in the state and think that it is the most important rivalry in the world. Like, I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong, but around the country, like, I didn't know growing up in New York, I didn't know that South Carolina and Clemson was a rivalry.
Yeah, it's what it is. But South Carolina's 5-1 in those.
Oh, I like it.
So,
and Rob Gardner, I mean, he committed a felony.
Yeah, pretty much. Preston, were you there for that game? Were you up there that night?
I was there for that game. I was very cold, just in jerseys and watching the game as a red shirter. But I was there, and that was a tough scene.
That was Squeaky had the big run there late in the game. Looked like y'all had pulled it out, and then unfortunately no. But other than that, South Carolina very good in these ranked versus ranked matchups here between the two. And as you mentioned, 2012 was the last time they met up at Memorial Stadium as ranked versus ranked. Number 13 Carolina, number 12 Clemson. So that brings us to, and I'll ask Brian this because you're a part. Your background is a part of a massive rivalry with the Red Sox and the Yankees. That's a rivalry. Preston, you've got three kinds of rivalries that you look at.
Yeah, so rivalries fall in a couple different categories. One is just straight up bragging rights, either, I'm better than you. Two, which I think this one is falling into a little bit more this time, are there high stakes involved? Or three, can we just be a spoiler? And I think those are sort of the three categories. So if you're talking to Brian and you're talking about the Red Sox versus Yankees, there were a lot of times where neither team was very good, but so it was just bragging rights. But then in the early 2000s, it became high stakes. And so I'm wondering, what's your favorite type of rivalry? Is it the combination of the three, or what do you like the most about rivalries? Mm-hmm.
when they pulled him out of there. And that's kind of intense. I always told people, like, I never wore my Red Sox hat into Yankee Stadium because only one of two things would happen. Either someone would rip it off and throw it, or someone would rip it off, throw it, and kick the crap out of you. So it's a little intense. Maybe, but the high stakes, the 2003, 2004 were, I don't know how you can have more emotion and not be actually part of the game than what it was in those 2 years.
This one hits everything in the Venn diagram, doesn't it, Preston? This game this year?
It does, and that's why I'm really curious, because everything, obviously we have the bragging rights being within the state, but now we have the high stakes as far as possible opportunities for the CFP, and also the spoiler alert. We could actually just completely ruin Clemson's season. So everything is on deck for this particular game.
Yeah, we'll get into that coming up in the next segment. You talk about that because Clemson will be, no matter what happens, Clemson will be waiting patiently after the game to see if they can get into the ACC championship if Miami were to lose to Syracuse tomorrow. And again, we'll get into some of our picks coming up in the next segment. We'll run through the schedule for tomorrow. But this is one of the few times you're right, because of the new setup for the college football playoff, all three aspects, bragging rights, playing a spoiler, and having high stakes. Because also South Carolina, look, you win, at least you stay in the discussion for the college football playoff. At least when they show first 4 out or whatever, you should be in that little graphic.
It definitely keeps to where if South Carolina wins, the selection show is appointment viewing. I mean,
right.
It is. So you get 2 more weeks of we're in the conversation, and that is just that fact is phenomenal.
Preston, your thoughts on just staying in the conversation?
I totally agree. I think if we win this game, we become the darling of America.
Oh, wow.
People are talking. I think we get snubbed, but we become the team that everybody's all of a sudden paying attention to.
All right, well, we'll get into the games tomorrow, maybe some of the ones that we've got to really pay attention to, looking for what needs to happen, what particular upsets. Maybe one of them is today with Mississippi State and Mississippi. The problem is Rebels 4-touchdown, 26.5, but basically 4-touchdown favorite. We'll get into the tomorrow's schedule, make some picks when we come back. You're listening to the early game.
Still looking great out on the highways this morning. We haven't had any accidents. Awesome news, and no major slowdowns. And the forecast, it's a cooler one than we've had recently. 57 for the high today. Overnight low of 28. Tomorrow, 53 will be our high. But again, those cooler temperatures in the overnights, 28, and then overnight 30 Sunday night. Right now, holding steady, a little bit overcast, and it's 43 on 107.5 The Game.
.835 as we roll on. Brian Glenn in the studio with us. Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. Just about 25 minutes left here, and then we'll turn it over to Tyler Head and Jack and the whole team. And we will go about getting back into our Thanksgiving leftovers, or in Brian's case, his leftover spaghetti, getting ready for tomorrow.
That's right, leftover. I'm still primed and ready to go.
Yeah, he's feeling good. Feeling good. All right, let's make some picks. And some of these games we got to keep a close eye on. Let's start noon. Fox, big game. Michigan, Ohio State. I tell you what, Jen, real quick, before we make our pick for Michigan, Ohio State, let's hear. This is number 24 real quick. Ryan Day, Jen, losing to Michigan is one of the worst feelings of my entire life.
Yeah, I think competition makes you better. But this is really
No, that's Dow Loggins. That's Dow Loggins on something. Let's try that one more time. 24 here. Yeah, let's hear Ryan Day on losing to Michigan.
We gotta have, that edge.
Having a little glitch here. Hold on.
0-2 is the count. One more time.
We gotta have, that edge, and we will, because we know what's at stake. I mean, we've felt what it's like to not win this game, and it's bad. It's one of the worst things that's happened to me in my life, quite honestly. Other than losing my father and a few other things, it's quite honestly for my family the worst thing that's happened. So we can never have that happen again, ever. And that's been the approach all season.
All right, Preston, I'll start with you.
Oh man, I didn't expect it. Oh, okay. All right. I don't want this show to take a dark turn at 8:37, but wow, I didn't expect that to come from him. I would say the only problem is, Ryan, you've experienced this a lot, so it just keeps happening to you over and over and over again.
Ohio State is a 19.5-point favorite. Preston, what direction do you go with this game?
Give me Ohio State, but it would be funny if Michigan did pull this out again.
That's like my dad died. Then they resuscitated him, and then he died again. They brought him back. And he died again. That's kind of like losing to Michigan.
Oh.
Yeah, Ohio State's going to win the game, but I think it's going to be tight. What's that line?
19.5 per ESPN bet.
Yeah, let's take those points.
Yeah, Michigan. Michigan has no business being in this game. When somebody says that their dad has passed away and this still might be one of the worst things that's ever, that lets you know that this is in his head. Like he might Matt Eberflus his way right on out of this game tomorrow, and I'll take Michigan. I'm with you. Ohio State wins. But if Ohio State loses, real quick, 2-loss Ohio State. If Ohio State loses, are they out of the playoff, Preston? Yes or no?
No, I think Ohio State still gets in.
Out of the playoff? You can't get over it, can you? You needed to listen to that. Okay. Real quick, go to another one. Tennessee makes the trip to Vanderbilt. Well-known, difficult place to go in. First Bank Stadium in Nashville. Tennessee's -11. A lot of people in South Carolina's land have looked at this and been like, all right, first domino to fall for us to get in. Vanderbilt has to beat Tennessee. Vanderbilt +11, or do they win?
I mean, I don't think they have to for South Carolina to get in, but this is one of those, like you talked about the rivalry, playing spoiler. I mean, I kind of like Vanderbilt here. I can't believe I just said that, but yeah, I mean, I would take the points, but I would take them on the money line too. I think they might win this game.
Preston?
Haven't been impressed with Nico all season. If it was going in quarterback battles, I think I would take the Pavia Magic. Let's roll the dice and go with Vandy.
Okay, going with Vandy tomorrow. Not bad there. Real quick, we're not going to pick this game. Tomorrow does end an era of college football. Northwestern and Illinois. Do you know what era comes to an end, Preston Thorne?
I believe, is this the Ryan Helinski era, or does he have another year left?
He's got to be done. He's got to be done. That's all I can. He started in 2019.
Isn't he like 32 at this point?
Yeah, he's on his side job is selling insurance. He's doing a.
Got the AARP card.
He's got a touchdown and no touchdowns. He's thrown an interception this year. He's thrown 15 total passes. Ryan Helinski's career finally wraps up. Northwestern's 4-7 on the season. They get Illinois tomorrow. We are not picking that game. Let's continue rolling along here. Tomorrow's games coming up is I tell you real quick, I want to go back to today real quick with you, Brian. Boise State -18.5 tonight, this afternoon, noon game. They need to win this to pretty much make sure they're in the college football playoff. You Boise State?
Yeah, and I think they roll.
Okay. All right. Preston, we were both on Boise State, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, just to get that. All right. 3:30 tomorrow. This is the one that Clemson fans are really going to be invested in. I've seen a lot of people thinking an upset could occur. Miami goes to what is now called the JMA Wireless Dome. We always call it the Carrier Dome. Hurricanes -11. They lose. Not only do they not make the ACC championship, they're probably out of the college football playoff as a 2-loss team, Brian.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If they lose this game, they're out of the playoff because I think they need to win the ACC to get in. And listen, I've been to the Carrier Dome. It's a weird place. It's one of those pressurized things, and it just sounds weird. Everything's weird in your head. It's gonna be cold outside. You know, the Miami players got to play in it, but I mean, I don't think it's gonna happen, but it would not shock me. But I would take the points in Syracuse.
Preston, a reminder, I don't know how Fran Brown necessarily handles this. I don't know if he loses tomorrow, if he can't wash again until after the bowl game, or if he gives himself a week grace. I don't know how it works, but remember, Fran Brown said soap is for winners. If he loses this, I'm not sure how that works for the month of December. Where do you go with this?
Yeah, that's why this is a must-win for Fran. He tells the team, like, hey, I got family in town. We have to win this game so I could be around my granny because she's not going to be accepting of this. Give me the orange man.
Oh, okay. Are you going outright victory?
What's the points, Brad?
11.
Yeah. You know what? I don't care. Give me the. I've been watching them all year, and I've been watching Miami kind of pull some Houdini tricks all year. Give me Syracuse.
Also, 3:30 tomorrow. Another game. If you're a South Carolina fan, maybe you're keeping an eye on Notre Dame at Southern Cal. A loss eliminates Notre Dame, I assume, Brian. The Fighting Irish are -7.5 tomorrow.
Yeah, they know they got to win this game to secure their spot, so I think they're going to roll with it.
Preston?
Don't sound so excited, Brian.
I'm excited as back in the Jerry Faust Notre Dame days where it was the pink.
Give me Notre Dame, but yeah, I'm about as excited as Brian is.
Let's get one more in here. Tomorrow night, 7:30. It is the return of a great rivalry. Kyle Field, number 3 Texas at number 20 Texas A&M. I think one of you have been calling for this. Yes, Longhorns -5.5. Winner gets Georgia in the SEC championship.
Don't need the points. Don't want the points. I'll take the points. Texas A&M.
Texas A&M. All right. That is 4 straight weeks of picking against Texas for Brian Glenn. Preston? Or do.
Brian says they do. I would like to see some chaos happen. I don't like the idea that Texas can just march into the SEC and get to the championship. Give me Texas A&M.
Ooh, I don't think Texas A&M is very good. I didn't think they were very good when they came to Columbia. I don't think they're very good. I think Texas rolls them tomorrow. Give me the number 3 ranked Longhorns in that one. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on anything you just heard. We'll come back. We'll get our final thoughts, some matchups, and our final thoughts on South Carolina and Clemson. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years, Larry Leitner and the family have been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. The reason, because they think about your roof 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, you got a busy day, busy weekend lined up. You're not thinking about your roof. You're thinking about Thanksgiving leftovers. You're thinking about shopping. You're thinking about big football games. Who knows what else you're thinking about? I promise that you're probably not thinking about your roof. But that is the reason Mid-State Roofing has been the leader for nearly 30 years. They think about your roof 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they know that when you discover a leak or you have a roofing issue, whether with your home or with your business, you need somebody who can help right then. That's why when you call them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you'll speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee. So make that phone call when you discover a leak. You just need to let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. 803-356-1919. Let them line you up with a maintenance contract. Again, that's 803-356-1919. Call Mid-State Roofing today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Wrapping it up here. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, joined in studio by Brian Glenn as he does each and every Friday. And time for final looks here at South Carolina and Clemson. Preston Thorne's been a part of this series. Again, it'll be the 7th time ever the Gamecocks and the Tigers meet, both being ranked in the AP top 25, and the Gamecocks 5-1 in this series. Preston, I'll start with you. Biggest matchup for tomorrow that you're watching that determines this game?
Clemson's offensive line versus our elite defensive line. They're injured, coming off having to substitute a lot of guys. I think we're going to be able to put a lot of pressure on them up front.
Any one particular matchup on the side, whether it's Kyle Kennard or Dylan Stewart, that is big? I would go with Kennard. Kennard's just made plays throughout the season, and I don't know if tomorrow him having a big day increases his draft stock, but is that a guy that you keep an eye on?
Yes, he will. I think he will have a big day, but as I said, they're beat up all the way across the board, so it's going to be that whole group. And if you want to single in on them, I'd say the two edges with Kennard and Stewart.
Brian, where do you go with biggest matchup for tomorrow?
I think it's Lenore Sellers versus himself.
That's a good one. Yeah.
You know, and I think that he's prime. He doesn't seem, as young as he is. He doesn't get rattled. He doesn't overthink things. He bounces back really quick. So just making sure that this, and I think earlier Shane had said that Lenore's didn't grow up watching this game. So I think he's in the right position, but it's your in-state rival. Everyone in the state cares about it. Don't let it get too big. Just keep doing what you're doing. I think you'll be okay.
Back to interesting thing to watch tomorrow. Now, this would require kind of an epic day. Kyle Kennard, 2 sacks away from tying Jadeveon Clowney's single-season sack record, 13.5. He's got 11.5. Preston, beginning of the year, what was Dylan Stewart's prediction?
You remember? I remember he said 15 or something pretty wild. I said that he was going to get it, and I think he's going to get it.
Well, you talk about Stewart, right?
Yes.
Well, I think we had to go back and clarify if he meant that he was going to break the freshman record for sacks by Jadeveon Clowney, which is 8.5. Kennard is sitting at Dylan Stewart is sitting at 6.5 right now, 2 sacks away.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way,
I don't think that's what he meant. I think he meant he was going to break the all-time sack record in the galaxy, but we had to calm him down a little bit.
For the record, I do not expect Kyle Kennard to play in the bowl game. This is just me. I do not expect Kyle Kennard to play in the bowl game. I do expect Dylan Stewart to play in that game, obviously. If Stewart can get a sack tomorrow, one in the bowl game, he would tie Jadeveon Clowney's record. That would be something to kind of behold right there, and would explain why he would be on the verge of getting the amount of NIL money that he would be getting. So just keep an eye on that. Clowney, by the way, I'm wrong. Clowney, according to ESPN stats, had 8. He's a sack and a half away.
Okay.
I like Stewart and how he's just the confidence there. He's like, I'm going to cause more damage than the Death Star. Basically, that's kind of how he comes across. Now, you don't think that Kennard's going to play in the bowl game? Do you think he's going to play in a playoff game, Bill?
Oh, if it's a playoff game, he plays.
I would hope so.
Hold. We'll hold those thoughts and allow people to yell at me later. Real quick, Demetrius Knight, difference tomorrow. Demetrius Knight he's been good, and we've talked about him. Of course, he's he's 24 years old. He's got 2 kids. He's driving a minivan. The pawpaw of the team. But Demetrius Knight has been the difference on this team. He has been absolutely phenomenal this year, middle of that defense. That's the guy who stops him. And as Preston has said, by the way, Demetrius Knight's second on the team in tackles with 47. Demetrius Knight's the one that runs in there and actually tackles the guy he's supposed to. Debo 50-50 Williams is the guy who may hit his player or may hit the Clemson running back.
He's hitting somebody.
Somebody's getting hit. Predictions. Where do we go tomorrow? Brian, I'll start with you.
Well, I would say it's good about Demetrius Knight, that it's an early game, so he can still
It's true.
Get home, get the leaves raked.
Yeah, he's got some honeydews to get done, yeah.
It worries me that all we've heard for the last week is, the LSU game's going to screw us and this and that. And, still going to play. And Clemson's not bad. But I think the program is turning a corner here. Where you're going to see that South Carolina's going to go up there. They're ready for it. They're going to take it.
Preston?
Let's go, man. I can never pick against us in this game, man. I think there's a legit reason why we win this game.
Only concern I have, Alex Herrera. 2 years ago up there, Mitch Jeter was perfect. Alex Herrera tomorrow. Don't let this come down to a field goal. Nothing against him. Just that's my concern tomorrow. I got the Gamecocks. I think they win 24-10. I'm going 24-10.
That's exactly my pick.
We're all on the same page. Y'all have a great day.
See ya.
Traffic-wise on the road this morning, looking pretty good. There are no reported accidents, and traffic is really light. All the weather outlook for today, 57 for a high, but 28 for an overnight low. Tomorrow, 53 for a high, again 28. Freeze warning for the South Carolina area. Sunday, 57 for a high, 30 degrees for an overnight low. Monday, only 50 for a high, 25. Reported for your low there. So it's going to get really, really cold overnight. So be careful.
9 o'clock on your Friday morning. I actually had to think about that for a second because the week's kind of thrown off now with the holiday in the middle. It is a football Friday. It is Black Friday. Tyler Head and Jack Beltry along with you here on the last Friday of November. Happy Black Friday. Hope Thanksgiving was good for you and the family, Jack. And, man, a fun weekend ahead.
It's going to be a great weekend of football. Like yesterday with the NFL and stuff, it was so-so. But yesterday was more about the meal and stuff, which, yes, my family and I, we had a great time all together and stuff. Hope you had a great time on your Thanksgiving, and hopefully football wasn't as dreadful to watch. I mean, look, that the Lions-Bears game was fine. It's a lot more fun when you've maybe got some money on the line in these games. So that's how you get by. That's my advice.
I will say Tua and Tyreek actually got me a little bit of money on Underdog Fantasy last night with that last touchdown. So the game itself, not the most entertaining, but they did help me out there a little bit in the end.
There you go. Hey, I had Tyreek too for over yards. So let's go.
So at least we got something out of it. But obviously, Thanksgiving holiday is always fun. Imagine there's a lot of leftovers waiting to be eaten today in the fridge.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I took some home last night, and my question today, I was seeing get your thoughts on this. So I live near a dollar store, right? It's very easy to stop by on the way home whenever I need, something really quick. And what I didn't get from the leftovers was gravy, because it was all, everybody used it by the end of dinner. So I'm wondering, when I stop at this dollar store today, are they going to have any gravy left over?
Do they normally have gravy?
See, that's the thing is I don't usually go there for that. But, like, whether it be in the packet, the stuff you make yourself, or, like, the little jar that you can just heat up, like, I hope they do, because I'm not going to, like, a store today. I'm going to stop there and see if they have it, because I'd like to have it for the leftovers, but I don't have the most confidence in thinking that they do right now.
Oh, I don't know. But you know what? Hey, never say never. And if they don't, it's not the end of the world. I mean, there's something out there probably to make it work.
That's what I was thinking about. Again, I think about food constantly, but I was thinking like, man, well, if that doesn't work, I got a bunch of sauces and stuff in the fridge. I'm sure I can figure out something that will add a little bit of moisture to the leftovers. Because again, when you reheat things in the microwave,